Hello everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent. Today we're talking about the Drow Pantheon, so we're covering all the Drow deities and their relationships with one another. I know I'm terrible with pronunciations. For these deities, I pulled the pronunciations from the AD&D accessory Demi-Human Deities, which if you want to know more about the Drow Pantheon is a great book. Links in the references below. With that, let's dive in with Lolth. I went into Lolth's history last video and in previous videos as well, so if you're new, consider giving those a watch for further information. Lolth's history is also greatly tied to the novels. The War of the Spider Queen, which I really enjoyed, details Lolth's ascension from a lesser deity to a greater, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Lolth was originally known as Arashini, a lesser elven goddess of destiny and artisans. She was Corellon's consort, and the two had twins together, Veyron and Eilistraee. This story differs from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, though. In previous Forgotten Realms history, Lolth aided Grummish in trying to kill her husband Corellon, but in Mordenkainen's, it states that Lolth was created from the blood Corellon shed during his fight with Grummish. I'm not sure if this was a separate fight, but it isn't documented in Mordenkainen's. But in older Forgotten Realms lore, Lolth was attempting to overthrow Corellon, who is the head of the Elven Pantheon. This failed, and she was cast into the Abyss, where she conquered part of it and became the new ruler of the Demon Web Pits. She took the Dark Elves with her in the fall and nurtured them to worship her. Not literally taking them to the Abyss, but she was the deity of the Dark Elves, so they continued to worship her after the descent. Here in the Abyss, Lolth destroyed the demon lord Zanasu, who held dominion over spiders. She did this through trickery, having her grandson Selvetarm and Zanasu fight. Lolth then inherited the portfolio of spiders and became known as the Spider Queen. It was during the novel series War of the Spider Queen that Lolth separated herself from her followers for a short period of time. Well, short for a goddess, I suppose. She cut off all divine magic from her followers and cocooned herself up, preparing for a transformation. Through this transformation, Lolth ascended and became a greater deity, and also turned the Demon Web Pits into an independent plane of existence. Her symbol is a black spider with a female drow head hanging from a spider web. In the Underdark, her church is well known, evil, and hated by other races, mostly due to the cruelty of Lolth's clerics. On the surface, Lolth is synonymous with drow, and both are feared. Clerics of Lolth are always female, and Lolth loves offerings, and her followers will offer up magic items, valuable gems, and lives to their goddess. The dogma of the church is fear is as strong as steel. Love and respect are soft and useless. A follower of Lolth is ordered to weed out the weak and rebellious and destroy the non-faithful. The clerics of Lolth in Drow society are the rulers, police force, judges, juries, and executioners. They wield power from Lolth that reflects Lolth's evil personality. Her clerics pray for their spells before or after trance and are in an everlasting competition with one another, which must be amusing to Lolth, who hands out divine power to her followers. Up next is a servant deity of Lolth, Selvetarm, also known as the Spider That Waits. He is the champion of Lolth and the son of Veyron. Selvetarm is the drow demigod of warriors and battle prowess, and his church is more or less a military subdivision of Lolth's church. Oddly enough, he hates everyone, including Lolth, but he is enslaved to her and is a dutiful servant. Selvetarm is the child between Veyron and Zandalar, the dancer, who is a demigoddess of the elves. Selvetarm rejected both parents, but did begin to appreciate the good drow deity Eilistraee. Lolth did not like that Eilistraee found a friend and tricked Selvetarm into attacking the demon lord I mentioned earlier, Zanasu. Selvetarm absorbed Zanasu's demon essence and became corrupted enough that Lolth was able to bind him to her will. Some male drows become clerics of Selvetarm. They can become drow justiciators, a unholy knight of sorts. Selvetarm is in the shape of a drider with a sword and a mace in each arm. Drow fighters worship Selvetarm, probably the only other deity a drow male can worship and still be kept in the city of Lolth. Veyron is the son of Lolth. Known as the Masked Lord and the Shadow, he is the god of drow males and thievery. He is commonly worshipped by drow males who wish to have a better life than slavery under Lolth's matriarchy. Veyron is arrogant and an evil deity. He urges his followers to believe they are above other drow and of course other creatures. It is the belief of Veyron that all races shall be subjugated by the drow. Veyron is a lesser deity and was cast out with the other elves by Corellon when he betrayed them during Lolth's uprising. It appears that Veyron hated his father as much as his mother and wanted to stop them both. For this, I believe he was exiled. It is well known he hates Lolth and wants to overthrow her to become the main deity of the Drow. Veyron has the largest Drow following on the surface and the second largest overall. Most of his followers are Drow or half-Drow who wish a better life for themselves. Leaving Lolth's societies of the Underdark, they formed new villages and camps on the surface. His followers believe a war is coming with the clerics of Lolth to take back Drow society and mold it to Veyron's wishes and not Lolth's. Kiaransalee, also known as the Lady of Death and the Vengeful Banshee, she is a female deity of necromancers, drow, and the undead. She is a mad god but still retains her twisted cunning. She is powerful and swift to anger against all who have wronged her. Kiaransalee isn't related to Lolth, like previous deities mentioned, but she is subservient to Lolth. Not interacting with other deities, she prefers the mindless company of the undead. Clerics of Kiaransalee are secretive and usually found in small drow communities or special enclaves. Many of her clerics multiclass as necromancers. It just kind of makes sense. Kiaransalee was once mortal, a powerful dark elven necromancer queen from another plane of existence. She ascended and became a demigod, turning into an unwilling vassal of Lolth. At one point, Kiaransalee took over the Belly of Death, a cold plane that Orcus controlled. She apparently killed Orcus, but he returned, and she is ever on watch for his attacks. Although controlled by Lolth, Kiaransalee is always attempting to loosen Lolth's web and control over the Drow. It was during Lolth's silence, when she was transforming into a greater deity, that Kiaransalee got a large influx of worshippers. The dogma of her church states, "Death comes to all, and cruel vengeance will be exacted on those who waste their lives on the petty concerns of this existence." Ghaunadaur, probably my favorite drow deity just because of how weird he is. Ghaunadaur is the lesser deity of oozes, slimes, jellies, outcasts, and rebels. Not only do the drow worship Ganador, but aboliths, ropers, and oozes as well. Ganador is also known as the Elder Eye and that which lurks. Despite being my favorite, he is not popular. Outside of drow abolith cities, the Church of Ganador is more or less a bunch of scattered cults. Because of his ooze nature, clerics will familiarize themselves with acids, poisons, and alchemist fire. Ganador is extremely evil and often requires live sacrifices to be made in his name. He enjoys these sacrifices to be willing, so often charmed creatures will be led and devoured by an ooze or jelly. Ganador is a distinct entity unrelated to the demon lord Juiblix. Out of the Abyss, Juiblix isn't very active in the realms. Most ooze-worshipping cults revolve around Ghaunadaur. Lolth fears Ghaunadaur, or used to before she became a greater deity, but he doesn't seem to pay her much attention, which might be why Lolth gives him so much attention. Ghaunadaur is an ancient deity said to have emerged from the primordial ooze. Many of his worshippers are defiant drow males who are looking for an alternative to Lolth. However, to speak his name in most drow cities is punishable by death. His dogma is to consume, hunt, and weed out the weak, convert followers to Ghaunadaur, make sacrifices in his name, and destroy other temples and places of worship that are not for Ghaunadaur. I just think he's neat. Finally, the only good deity in the Drow Pantheon and daughter of Lolth, Eilistraee. Known as the Dark Maiden and the Lady of Dance, Eilistraee is the chaotic good deity of the Drow. She left with her mother when Lolth and friends were cast out by Corellon because she knew the Dark Elves would need a light in such dark times, and she is that light. The Drow can look to her to cast off the chaotic shackles of Lolth and live a life of peace, love, and trust with one another. Eilistraee is a lover of beauty and peace, but will strike back against those who harm her followers. Her church is little known and poorly understood by those of the surface world. Good-aligned drow are unheard of on the surface, so it's difficult to understand that there is a good deity that watches over them. However, in recent times, the Harpers had begun secretly supporting Eilistraee's church and work towards a day when it will be fully accepted throughout Vhaeraun. Rituals involve dancing, wearing little to nothing except a sword, usually during a moonlit night after a feast. Her clerics often multiclass as fighters, bards, or rangers. Her dogma consists of the nice stuff: always be kind except in battling evil, encourage happiness everywhere, learn and teach new songs, dances, and skilled sword work to those willing to follow the Dark Maiden. Many of her followers are skilled music makers. They are singers and play instruments. Temples to Eilistraee are found near caves or in dimly lit forests on the surfaced world. Moonlight is sacred and important to her followers, and often rituals are performed during the full moon. The church has little in the way of a formal hierarchy. The followers gather in small independent bands in forests across Vhaeraun. And that's it for today. It's a lot of deities and a lot of information, so thanks for sticking with me till the end. I said it earlier, but I really like Ghaunadaur, and I want to have an evil cult of sentient oozes that worship him, causing problems in Vhaeraun for our adventurers to stop. Or maybe playing a drow cleric of Ghaunadaur, or a drow paladin of Selvetarm. A Drow follower of Eilistraee could be interesting, maybe multi-class into Cleric and Bard, lots of potential with the Drow Pantheon. I encourage you to use it in your campaign. Thanks for watching everyone, and thank you to my patrons on Patreon that make these videos happen. I'll see you all in the next video.